Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another quick view. We're diving back into Class 1 again. Class 1. We call them Class 1 because they are 4.19 or smaller. We call them Class 2 because they are 4.75 or smaller. Class 3 would be anything above 4.76. Class 0 is not an official thing. Yet, when we're looking at a tire that is, say, 393, 385, something like that, I refer to those as Class 0. So we've got 0, 1, 2, and 3. That is the loose structuring of how tires are defined, and we don't do the comp rules here. So, if we are testing what we are testing today, which is a Class 1, meaning 4.19 or smaller, pin tire, the comp pin from Injora. Look at their new font with the comp. This is a Class 1 tire because it is 4.19 or smaller. I don't care that you can't use these in any competition that I'm aware of. No belt, no rib, but definitely worthy of note. Very thick. The carcass and sidewall are of uniform thickness, or at least it appears. It might step down. It steps down. It does. See how we can get that little line right there? A full 3 millimeters thick around the outside. It probably drops down to 2.5. It's definitely not 2. Typically on a tire we're going to see about 2 millimeters across the carcass. So 3 millimeters is thick. These are S4 compound, so they are. You get some real good stick if you go sideways like this. They're good and sticky when they're stacked up together. We can, they're good and they're good and sticky. But, a couple of notes. The first attempt was to mount them on the typical Injora 24 millimeter wide ring Method 105 clones, and we experienced something a little unusual. There is a fairly chunky bead on this. It is double-edged. It has the full ledge. Nevertheless, a little bit of a spinny thing going on. A little bit of a spinny. So that is why we are on the Splash anode. These use the 21 millimeter ring. We also made attempts to mount them up on both. We mounted them up on the blue, and then we mounted them on the green to test the differences. Because we're like Class 1 guy, but that carcass is really thick. And it was correct. Also, due to the narrowness, the blue kind of bulged out all the way around, like vertically and widthwise. So the blue insert with the Class 1 comp pin feels both too wide and too tall. Meanwhile, because the green is so much softer and it's so easy to collapse, I mean, it's very easy to collapse that these are very soft. I think they're going to combine together to swing back around to a medium. Now, I don't know if that is by design, because they're anticipating that people are going to put Class 1s on something heavier, but see, there's none of that. There's none of that raise on the outside, and it's pretty uniform how the bottom of it sits down. It's not nearly as crinkled and wrinkled. I had kind of a pain because, well, obviously, I was on my second one before I noticed, oh, hey, I can just spin these. I haven't seen that in a while. So take note, depending on your particular beadlock, if you're on what I consider to be a roughly standard 24 millimeter ring, they might not work. If you were on a wheel that is employing a 21 millimeter ring, like these, 19, 20, 21, 22, any of the sub 24s, it's probably going to be less of an issue. Because I just need to put a tiny little bit. So there's the double edge of the beadlock, the ring on the tire itself, the lip on the rubber that is supposed to catch the ring. I just want it on the little inside face so that when I'm tightening this down, it will allow them to slip in easily. If you over sauce them, I thought it was because I put a little too much sauce, and that was why it was sliding. But as it turns out, that's not why it was sliding at all. It was sliding because the gap between the beadlock ring and the faces of the beadlock itself was too big, so they were just on the loose. Once you get the right wheel and you put a little juice on there, the S4 is sticky enough that it will fight you if you try to go in dry. Never go in dry, kids. So it's easier to just a little bit of juice on there, and these will not slip. Ventilated, 2 holes, and also they feel over firm. Let's just put it that way. When you go like this, you go, that is hard, because the carcass is so thick. I feel like we're not going to get any slurve on the side. Like, these are not going to roll over. We might get this action, but we're not going to get sidewall collapse on these. These feel very firm, and because they're so small, yet they've got a silicone insert, they feel oddly heavy. Let's see if I can... Oh, the top one popped off, but we can do this. It's sticky. It's sticky. I got it right here. I got it right here. I got it right here. Let's see. Are they 4.19? 106. 30. You know? I'm going to go 38. Could almost go to 39. So these are nearly the same width. On the stock foam, the XHX pins, the Class 2 pins, in S5 compound, these are about the same width as those. These are very close to the same width as the regular. What does our spacing look like? Does it look tighter at all? Maybe a little. It would not surprise me. These are blues, greens. These are greens. Like 40. Yeah, they're like 2 millimeters wider. But obviously, a little bit taller. I bet if someone were to sit down and count them, there's probably the same number of lugs on the Class 1 that there are on the Class 2. Now they need to make a 525 LP pin. Ooh, Injora, are you listening? XHX pins. This size right here. 22 LPs. Ooh, that's good. I actually got a little chill. I was like, whoo, that would be gnarly. Like, full California. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, bro? Gnarly. Give me some 22 LP pins, please. Pennaby will be the man with the plan. And honestly, this feel right here, I hope that he's heavy enough. These feel like super firm. These feel super firm. I keep forgetting that's not where the microphone is, so I don't know if you got to hear the cool ASMR noise. These are a bit narrower than his stock wheel. He's tucked in. He's tucked in on these. There's a good 4 or 5 millimeters of thread sticking out. Shouldn't be a problem. I gotta put his body screws in before. I don't want to forget. He'll shuck his body on the first rollover if we don't. There needs to be a big flathead screw right there. I don't know. My anticipations for this are so all over the place because every Injora pin. So we've got the Class 1 S4 pin, we've got the Class 2 S4 pin, and we've got the Class 2 S5 pin. Comp XHX. All of them are completely different in structure. These share in common with the Class 2s the lug shape and the compound. The lug shape and the compound. The font on the side, those say the like multi-terrains or whatever. They've got new dyes or molds for this. But the carcass feels completely... That right there, when I go like this, it feels like I'm pushing on this. I'm not kidding. No exaggeration. It feels that hard. Meanwhile, these, almost no pressure. These just look at the deflection. Look at the contact patch on there. I don't know. It is same in name, but by gum, by golly, this is a completely different tire. So we go in hoping for the best. Not every pin has shattered the earth. So let's hope that these do well, because I don't know. I want everything to do well. Reality intervenes and changes that up on us. But maybe we'll do the thing. Let's hope that we do the thing. The only way to find out if we're doing the thing is to what? Oh, yeah, what do you say? Yes, absolutely. You're completely correct. 100%. We're going to go outside and we're going to do the thing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hope that that initial bench feel, that these are just as hard as rocks, isn't going to translate. Is that thick carcass not going to let us down? The drive back, the suspension feels, and across the piazza here, across the concourse, it feels really smooth. Like there's almost no body movement. So something is working. I know Class 1s can get up. Oh, get it? Yeah. Okay. All right. We're still okay. I know Class 1 builds can get up heavy-ish. Oh yeah, okay. I thought right there, up across the top, we were gonna get some. Ooh, the side Helen. I thought we were gonna get some squirreliness, but no. Honestly, I don't hate these wheels on this rig either. Ooh, just grind. How much flowers can we drag up with us? Get that reposition back. I want to see it. Oh, yeah. All right. If you didn't have eyes, or if you have to operate in some form of corrective lenses and you took them off, you wouldn't know these were pins. They drive very much just like a regular tire. I'm gonna have to assume, because of that, I keep using it carcassel like it's a word. Carcassel thickness. Y'all know what I mean when I say it. It hasn't got that pinniness. But I mean, that's not bad. Genuinely, I mean, honestly, in the spirit of honesty, very surprising. We know pins are good. This is, of course, the cruise control pull. That's solid. That is the Class 1 forgetfulness maneuver. I'm still not out of cruise. I mean, pretty predictable. I anticipate, I mean us, we anticipate this just absolute overwhelming amount of traction because, you know, it's a pin. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, thankfully. Slick rock is often the arbiter. It is the decider of, like, I mean, well and truly, figuratively and literally, in the event of a junk view, Slick Rock determines whether or not it will be a quick view or a junk view. This is certainly a quick view. These are doing the things. Now we have to try to see if it can do all of the things. I mean, above anything else, probably, I still love that Injora saw fit to make a Class 1 pin. Because no competitive agency, if you're using your Class 1 in competition, no competitive agency is going to let you run a pin tire. So, you know who it's for? I mean, us, I guess. Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, all right. You know what it's doing? It's that little, it's doing a little dance. We got the insert in the tire. You've got to run them in. If this holds up to expectations, this will continue to get more predictable and more responsive as we go. Yeah, it's definitely transforming into a pin. Out here, it feels more like a pin, because when you think traction is going to fall away, it doesn't. It just keeps going. Straight up the middle. Ooh, will that cut back? Might as well stay in it. And here's the thing about the pin. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing about the pin. They do so much for no sidewall. There's for no side lug on the comp pin. It's just relying on the main tread, which you would think would have a greater compromise on maneuverability than it does. The only compromises to maneuverability here are giant Bronco heavy. This combo, so Green's in there, he is in the 7.5, 7.6 pounds area. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect. But we fall into that hole again. In this configuration, this guy right here, I would definitely rather have a tire that looks like a tire. You know what I mean? Like, I will make that sacrifice for vanity. I already made the sacrifice for vanity when I put a body that weighs well over a pound on it. So it just, I'm left with questions. It definitely provides more questions than answers, because I think, okay, Green insert, which is the softest, pretty well suited to a rig in the mid-7s. But who's running a pin? Who's running a full fendered Class 1 pin? So I think, well, maybe something like what we around here call the UTB 12, the UTB 18, but it's not 18 scale. It's not even close to an 18 scale. Those little fellas do great on a 393 419, and if you throw them on a little buggy, you can get away with a pin. That little buggy won't be nearly heavy enough for these. Yeah. Remember what I said about the sidewall? I didn't think I could lift a high side rear tire that high. We should have rolled out a long time ago. A long time ago. Okay, what if no... There we go. There we go. Now straight back to the wheels. His body still weighs over a pound, you know? We're just overwhelming springing, damping, and geometry at this point. Yeah, seeing that right there, that lift the leg, that's not a thing. That transfer should throw to that other side and make it just go away. Okay, we're gonna go real slow. Oh, to settle down. I think it still feels like it's gonna go. Yeah, it's gonna go. And by go, I mean not go where we want it to go. What if I put some little input into it? There it is. You know what they are, most importantly, though? These are slow rolls. They are predictable. They are very noticeable when they're coming. We can also not go in that high. I was going to say we could try the real high approach. We'll give it one more try at the high approach. We won't count that as strike 3 because I went way too high. So I do look at the initial, the approach onto the side hill, and this initial is really, really solid. The maneuverability is good. The transition is basically not the tire getting overwhelmed, it's the suspension getting overwhelmed. yeah, we'll just continue to roll it out and roll it out and roll it out. I feel like that evaluation, the Class 1 evaluation of that particular maneuver has to be a little different. We should have enough drive here to at least make a fair shot at this. Oh yeah, oh wow, okay. I thought we might see a little, just a little bit of skitter, a little bit of lug uncertainty right there. None at all. That is pin drive. That's the drive of a pin tire. We come across the top, we have heavy inserts in thick tires. Oh, you want to talk about making the best out of the worst. Face first into the bucket, straight out of it with absolutely no problems at all. That, yeah. That's a reasonably substantial, so we're in the middle and we're at the top, reasonably substantial? That is a reasonably substantial amount of drive. We have just run out of, the tire has just enough deflection. It has enough, it's not conformity, conformability? The ability to conform? It has just nearly enough. Look at that hop. Bow, 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 bow. So realistically, if both if the front could deflect a little more, I think we could get this without giving it a little bumpy. But again, I don't have a firmly established Class 1 mindset yet. So my evaluation has a lot of Class 2 in it. And we've got big fenders, heavier everything. I'm forgetting how small the tires are. I'm not noticing as many hang-ups as I typically would. We're not getting the pumpkins stuck into stuff. The maneuverability is right up there. This may well be another one of those instances. We're gonna see we'll see where the numbers end up. It's gonna depend on stuff like wet, self-right and wet. Oh, self-right. How many Class 1 self-rights have we done? We'll see. He's rolled to his wheels every time so far, but this may be a megalithic instance where the Class 1 is a little bit better than the Class 2. I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be really close. Like, we're talking about a 1-point window, like a plus or minus half a point, because these are definitely doing all of the things. So in my head, so many conflicting things. On the one hand, I'm thinking, these are doing really well. On the other hand, I'm thinking, they're pins. Why wouldn't they do well? Then I think, well, the carcass is so thick. Like, we're not relying on them conforming. And then they go, my other half goes, but they're pins. And then I go, yeah, they're 419 pins. Who is the target? Who is the target for 419 pins? I mean, angry Lexan noises are one thing, but angry ABS noises are savage. This is just a matter of trying to pull the body, get the pan to clear right here. It's been to wheels every time. And honestly, I don't anticipate anyone running these on the included foams. You're going to put a silicone in these. Why would you not? So there's an advantage there. It's slider, man. It's slider every time. There we go. Yeah, we're not getting out of that. So this puts us in one of those situations where we're evaluating a tire, but it's almost inseparable. Yeah, it's inseparable that we're evaluating the vehicle at the same time. That difficulty there had nothing to do with the tire. The tire is what got us up over. Right, and I still augered the front end in. There we go. As I said, my brain, in its default state, does not operate in Class 1. I expect Class 2, Class 3 things out of every tire. So the advantage here is, I don't know. The advantage here is canceled out by the very nature of what it is. So we are near optimal. I think, honestly, On the greens, you would probably want to be about a pound heavier. You would want to be between, say, I would say between 8 and 9 is where these would be, before your side hill would really start to crumple over. And big ABS-bodied Class 1s are not what are known for side hill anyway. Then it comes back again. The pendulum swings, just actively swinging. Who is mounting these? I mean, it will go back to wheels. It will go back to wheels. And again, you want to talk about the biggest variable that's not present here? The 11.4-inch wheelbase. I do not have that. I have 12.3. You pull out that almost about an inch of wheelbase. What is that, 24 millimeters or so? Yeah, 300 versus 287 versus 313. So that's like 26 millimeters. You take that 26 millimeters of wheelbase away, I think this is a whole different game. But then you've got to be piloting an absolute brick. My speculation is that you need a vehicle. We're going to try to cut white side here. Yeah, just knock that off. So, yep, there it is. So I knew he could do it. That pushed us out a bit wide, so we'll just use the yellow here. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. They are, if nothing else, in exchange for some of the forward drive that would ordinarily be granted us by a pin, the stability is ridiculous. And I'm talking about stability in something that does not have a good sprung to unsprung ratio. I don't think any hard body would, unless you've thrown a figurative ton of brass at it. These are really, really capable. More capable, I would say, than the vehicle to which they are mounted. It's an Enduro SE with a body that weighs more than the chassis bolted onto it. Extremely full fenders. And I forget about all of the constituent parts because it's doing better than I would think it would, or could. Right here, Daphne's is kind of the last one I'm really super curious about, because it's really hard to get poor clearance over this. This was set with a rig with portals, and now we're asking a rig not just with straight axles, but what are, in my mind, tiny tires. How's that for a turning circle? It's pretty tight. It's fairly tight. So I need to clear that this way. Use some low speed so we don't get squirted out. And then, nope, nope, nope. I don't think we can get there. Is this an instance where we don't have enough compliance? You've got to give to get. And I think that these are genuinely providing too much stability. They need to be thinner. Yeah, just, oh. That was there, and then it was gone. Oh, we got a little self-right in there, a little unintentional self-right. That's a little bonus. We can't do this. Yes, we can. That's the harder side, and that just dropped. The stability. It is a combo. So the evaluation here is really Injora silicone and the C1 comp pin. Again, we refer to Class 1 as size. Right there, right there. Maybe don't push out. Don't push out. Don't push out. There it is. Yeah, they will catch and hold. They are still a pin. They behave differently than every other pin ever, except in this. If there's not mechanical interference. Oh, look at that hanging. Then a little. So the bump is going from 40% throttle to 60% throttle. and it just goes. So we'll get over to the part where we're going to really get belly interference. Got a little spicy. Yeah. Gonna try the maybe. Yeah, that was pinned. We've got so much high weight, we've got enough combo weight that you can't. We can't get the donkey. We can get, but it can go bad. But oh, the stability. We have a surplus of stability. Oh yeah, it's tough to throw that body around, and we have to acknowledge sunlight. We have to acknowledge that counterfactor, which is you've got to have some decent steering angle to throw over like that. We'll try the front. Wow, this is a catch tire. And I think that would apply to most any Class 1. I know there's probably the lion's share of people aren't, okay. No one is doing this. No one is doing this right here. Because the only guys that are self-writing their rigs, generally, other than me in a test format, are people who are in competition and don't want to use the hand of God because they're trying to conserve points. That guy can't run these tires. So the self-writing score here should be an A. It's between pretty good and very good, but I don't know who it's applicable to. This tire is an odd one. It also really prefers the forward. So we do this one. The snap out on steer to the ground, burst it, that is literally like a 9.8, maybe 9.9 self-right, because it is thoughtless. Steer towards the ground, pin it on your wheels if you have the steer angle. This tire is proving to be far more difficult to score than I thought it would be. Follow me through this thought process as every day, virtually every day in the canyon is toe out day. Take a rock. I know there are classifications, that's definitely some Black Widow. There are different classifications of rocks, like there's a pebble, a stone, and it's up to a boulder, right, based on what size they are. For easier point of clarity, I would think most people would know what an acorn is. Okay, an acorn, oak tree drops an acorn. It's a nut, it's a seed. Take a rock, a mineral, a gemstone, the size of an acorn, drop it on your foot. Even your bare foot, just drop it on the top of your foot. You would go, oh, please don't do that. Now, loose your feet to the elements and step on that acorn-sized rock. I had it. Get it, get it, get it, we're in a hole. I went too far. I went too far. I'm just, you know what, screw those fenders. Now take that acorn-sized rock and step on it. You make what I call an undignified sound where you go, because it will find a soft spot of your anatomy and it will jab you in that. Conversely, take a rock, same type of rock, mineral or gemstone, but now this one is the size of a soccer ball. Now step on that. Nothing. You just, I mean, you know, you can balance on there. Then drop it on your foot. Aren't rocks, I mean, aren't completely normal things that can be explained easily, aren't they just wild? What I'm saying is stepping on a giant rock is fine, and stepping on a tiny, tiny rock can be quite painful, even if you have foot made of some sort of mysterious armor, which is what my feet are made of. Yeah, these, again, there are moments of some indeterminate length where I forget the weight of the vehicle, I forget how bad the sprung to unsprung is, I forget how poor our ground clearance would actually be. We're looking at like 27 to 30 millimeters of ground clearance. Maybe less? No, I would say probably 25. Let's call it 25 to 27. We just zoot around. It has done everything asked of it, and I do not anticipate on any level it doing worse than the Class 2 comp pin in wet. But then again, a hose will let us know that. I decided I didn't want to make some kind of super goulash, so before we put water on it, yeah, these are definitely talking to each other a little more friendlier. Got to get that little bit of wheel time on them. Get that tire insert agreement. Yeah. It's enough that I would probably throw another 1/10 at it, honestly, because that looked more than stable enough. And if I recall correctly, but it has been a hot minute, I don't think we lose much. No, it actually, it kind of cleaned it off. Get through some little wet spots down here. Want to get a little more water on the pen. We get a little, yeah. It's precisely the same. Did I go too far? Yes, I did. Okay, we got... All right, I guess that was where we were gonna sit. Okay, well now we got to do it again. All I was trying to do was park for the outro, man. Come on. Hop, and then over. Okay, we'll try it this way. I know ordinarily we face the other direct. That seems precarious. Okay, out this way, then don't over throttle. Don't get that front stuck, right? Okay, we're right back where we started. So we do the math, and we have a 95.5 KLOS. I think because in those, we're adjusting scoring mentally one way for Class 1, and then we're trying to keep it on the level because everybody's on the same tire test protocol. So I grabbed my phone and I looked up the spreadsheet. The original was a 95.7. The pivot is a 95.7. And I was thinking I would probably give this a 95.7. And then I thought maybe I wouldn't. I think overall I would say this is more like a, yeah, the score is 95.5. I would say that we have a floating score, honestly. I would say that in terms of pure, just objective performance, if we make no mental note / comparisons to prior tests, I would say that this is more of like a 95.3. But I would say it could easily also be a 95.7. And if my arithmetic is checking out, 95.5 is right between a 95.3 and a 95.7. I think in terms of raw drive, ability to handle wet, versatility, the oddball nature of it, like what are we even looking at? What is a Class 1 pin? Who is using this? That is going to take points away. But we've got, it doesn't care if the rocks are wet. It doesn't care transitioning from dirt. If it's dusty, it still does well. If the dust gets cleaned off, it does a little better. I'm fine with a 95.5. Just be aware that not only may your results vary. If you're heavier, it might be a little better or worse. If you're lighter, I think it's just going to be worse. Like I think it needs I think it needs even more PSI than it's getting now. And the Lord here doesn't run any weighted anything. There's no brass on him at all. Are the C-hubs? No. No, he has no brass. He's got stuck hubs, stuck. Does he have brass knuckles? I can't see. No, he does have brass knuckles. I take that back. He has front brass knuckles, and that's it, to help keep the front end down. So you could be throwing a lot more weight at these, but then the pendulum swings back again. Who is buying these? It is a great tire for a market segment that I can't even figure out what it is, but they are inexpensive. So if you're out there and you have a rig ready for these, please do, in the comments below, hit me up and let me know, where are you putting these? What are these for? I genuinely, as well as they did, I wish that they had a thinner carcass so that they would be applicable to like lil buggy builds, like the little Injora chassis or UTB 12 as we call it, something along those lines. As I sit and look at it now, I go, I don't know. He runs pivots every day, Durtrex pivots, and I'm going to put the Durtrex pivots back on. Their performance is almost interchangeable, but it's almost interchangeable between a tire that looks like a tire and a tire that is this. I don't need to run the pin. You run a pin because a pin is an automatic performance advantage. And in this instance, it isn't. It's right there with its brethren. So I don't know. Decide, make those decisions as you will. And please do let me know in the comments below if you're running a Class 1 pin, how and why and on what. Answer me these questions 3. Also, while you're at it, while you're involved in that nonsense, please do, one and all, try to do your best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time here from the canyon with some other thing that is partially inexplicable. We loved having you. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Lord Pentabee and I, for the day, bid you adieu.